Hi, welcome to my channel. This is a video about minimalism. You are watching part 2. In this part, we will discuss the Diderot Effect, how overconsumption is ruining our planet, the environmental benefits of minimalism, and many more. If you want to watch part 1 of this video, click on the I button. I hope you will like it. So let's get started.
Recently, the New York Times labeled the modern family the most stressed, tired, and rushed generation of all time. Few of us would disagree. It is not lost on me that one of the reasons this might be true is because our modern generation owns more stuff than at any other time in human history. As material goods have become more accessible and more affordable, we have accumulated more and more. Additionally, as the pace of life increases, so has the expectation that being busy is something to be proud of. We often complain about how busy life has become, but we are always sure to complain loud enough that everyone can hear us. As if being busy has become a badge of honor that we love to wear. But does this endless chase ever bring true fulfillment? Doubtful. As Socrates said, beware the barrenness of a busy life. Minimalism offers a different perspective and approach to living life well.
The Diderot Effect, why we buy things we don't need. We keep on buying new products, upgrading to the latest version, and filling our lives with possessions we don't need. That's the Diderot Effect, a tendency to overconsume, mostly caused by our natural need for betterment. The Diderot Effect is a social phenomenon related to consumer goods. The term was coined by anthropologist and scholar of consumption patterns Grant McCracken in 1988 and is named after the French philosopher Denis Diderot, 1713–1784, who first described the effect in an essay. Why does it happen? Life has a natural tendency to become filled with more. We are rarely looking to downgrade, simplify, eliminate, to reduce. Our natural inclination is always to accumulate, add, upgrade, and build upon. How to overcome it? Think before buying. Embrace the idea that things are not what they seem like. Delay the purchase to think, is it absolutely necessary? Set spending limits each month and spend based on it. Minimalistic consumption. Here are some tips for how to control the Diderot effect and adopt a minimalist approach to buying and consuming. Reduce exposure. Nearly every habit is initiated by a trigger or cue. One of the quickest ways to reduce the power of the Diderot effect is to avoid the habit that causes it in the first place. Unsubscribe from commercial emails. Call the magazines that send you catalogs and opt out of their mailings. Meet friends at the park rather than the mall. Block your favorite shopping websites using app blocker tools. Buy items that fit your current system. You don't have to start from scratch each time you buy something new. When you purchase new clothes, look for items that work well with your current wardrobe. When you upgrade to new electronics, get things that play nicely with your current pieces so you can avoid buying new chargers, adapters, or cables. Set self-imposed limits. Live a carefully constrained life by creating limitations for you to operate within. Buy one, give one. Each time you make a new purchase, give something away. Get a new TV? Give your old one away rather than moving it to another room. The idea is to prevent your number of items from growing. Always be curating your life to include only the things that bring you joy and happiness. Go 1 month without buying something new. Don't allow yourself to buy any new items for 1 month. Instead of buying a new item, rent one from a neighbor. Get your new shirt from the thrift store rather than the department store. The more we restrict ourselves, the more resourceful we become. Let go of wanting things. There will never be a level where you will end up wanting things. There is always something to upgrade to. Get a new Honda? You can upgrade to a Mercedes. Get a new Mercedes? You can upgrade to a Bentley. Get a new Bentley? You can upgrade to a Ferrari. Get a new Ferrari? Have you thought about buying a private plane? Realize that wanting is just an option your mind provides, not an order you have to follow. Environmental benefits of minimalism. Reducing waste. Minimalism often leads to reduced waste. When you declutter your life, by donating or recycling responsibly, less stuff ends up in landfill. Buying less, moving away from fast fashion buying habits, also reduces the strain on landfill sites. Promotes a circular economy. A circular economy is an economic system in which resources are used and reused instead of discarded. By donating your unwanted clutter to needy people and worthy causes, you're reducing the amount of new stuff they need to buy. Preservation of natural resources. By living with less clutter, you're helping to preserve the Earth's resources. According to Credit Suisse, 60% of global greenhouse gas emissions and 80% of freshwater usage originate from consumer products. So by consuming less, you're positively impacting the environment. Tiny houses equals less energy. Smaller homes use less energy. Minimalism helps you downsize to a tiny house because you don't need much space if you don't have much stuff. Lower carbon footprint. Minimalism can also lead to a lower carbon footprint. You're less likely to need a car or a storage unit when you own fewer belongings. This means you'll produce fewer emissions, less air pollution, and a smaller environmental impact. Consumable consciousness. Minimalism often raises awareness of what we consume. When you start living with less, you naturally become more conscious of your consumption habits and their impact on the environment. Ditch the tech. Minimalism has the potential to reduce our reliance on technology. So maybe it's time to break away from that constant need for the latest phone or tablet and opt for a more basic model instead. This might help the world start to get on top of its waste problem. Eco-Minimalism. The phrase eco-minimalism was originally coined by architect Howard Liddell and energy consultant Nick Grant. It was a design concept used to construct buildings with minimized environmental impacts. More recently, however, the phrase has been redefined. Eco-minimalism has evolved into so much more, and the new definition combines eco-consciousness and minimalism to create a lifestyle that's both simplified and good for the planet. While both eco-friendly living and minimalism focus on living consciously, they also have some differences. Minimalists live with very few items, simplifying their lives by decluttering and consuming mindfully. On the other hand, eco-friendly environmentalists live in a way that reduces their environmental footprint. But at the end of the day, environmentalism and minimalism share rewarding habits like reusing, upcycling, and conscientiousness. How overconsumption is ruining our lives and the planet. The standard American household contains over 300,000 items. That's a lot of stuff. While clutter has been shown to increase stress and decrease productivity, the average British woman purchases 59 articles of clothing each year. She has twice as many clothes when compared to 1980 and has never worn 22 pieces on average. Men are not far behind, with 19 items sitting in their closets, which they've never worn. Meanwhile, the textile industry is the second largest polluter in the world, only after oil. Fashion hits the environment from many angles, including water pollution, water consumption, plastic, harmful chemicals, greenhouse emissions, and deforestation. Oh, and this is on top of all the fair trade issues. It's predicted that we'll own 43.9 smartphones in our lifetimes. That's a new device every 1.8 years. What's more, each smartphone and its components travel 160,000 miles to get to us. 80% of the carbon footprint happens before even turning on the device. 10-year-old child in the UK has over 200 toys but only plays with 12 daily. The toy industry is the most plastic-intensive industry globally, with 90% of the toys on the planet made from plastic. The size of homes in the US has tripled in size since 1980. Yet, the average household size has decreased by 16% since 1940. Why you should create more and consume less. Minimalism is the key to happiness to longevity. A recent article in the New York Times shared research on longevity that revealed that the people who live the longest not only live healthy lifestyles but also tend to engage and connect with the people around them. As a lot of people age, they tend to find themselves consuming more and creating less. The people who keep on contributing live longer. You can't control the amount of time you spend on this planet, but you can control what you contribute while you're here. Most of the information you come across in your daily life, the news stories, the social media updates, the television shows, isn't going to change the choices you make. Instead of sitting around and consuming whatever is readily available, challenge yourself to make more conscious choices about what you consume and how you consume it. Do you really need social media apps on your phone? Or will you be just fine checking Facebook and Twitter when you get home? If something isn't benefiting you, then eliminate it. The world doesn't need more people who mindlessly digest whatever information is around. What the world needs are people who learn with purpose, who take action on the things that are important to them, and who seek out high-quality information as a way to spark creativity, not as an excuse to consume even more. India and minimalism. Minimalism is a tool to rid yourself of life's excesses and to focus on what's important, to find happiness, fulfillment, and freedom. India has not been left behind in the wave of minimalism, whether it was back in the sustainable era of Mahatma Gandhi or the 21st century where Indian minimalists are embracing the traditional less is more lifestyle. Living simply, so that others may simply live. Mahatma Gandhi. This proverbial saying by Mahatma Gandhi, one of the greatest faces known for living a minimalist life, highlights why living simply is not only beneficial to ourselves but also to the environment and people around us. Simple living encompasses several voluntary practices to simplify one's lifestyle. The dominance of a consumer culture based on materialism and mass consumerism has taken an enormous environmental toll, and overconsumption has not proven to contribute to humans' well-being or happiness. The pandemic offered everyone an opportunity to reflect on what matters and the value of their consumption. Many people are asking themselves, why can't we live with what we already have? The word minimalism feels like a new word, but the ideas, principles, and origins of this word can be traced back in history. In Christianity, living minimally without any greed is about living out your purpose, not anyone else. Islam talks about zuhid, Arabic, detachment, which means asceticism. It promotes moderation and shuns extravagance or extremism in any avenue of life. It encourages people to fulfill their basic needs moderately, without wasting any resources. In Hinduism, sannyasa talks about a simple life, one with minimal or no material possessions. Indian religions include a spectrum of diverse practices, ranging from mild self-discipline, self-imposed poverty, and simple living, to more severe austerities and self-mortification practices of monks. Contingent upon Buddhism, a traditional Buddhist, such as a monk, lives an extremely minimalist lifestyle because their belief in these principles governs their everyday life. They also believe that attachment to objects is what causes suffering because nothing will last forever. In the West, minimalism emerged as a reaction to the consumerist mentality that began during the Industrial Revolution. Overproduction and advertisements made to manipulate the audience have left the public saturated. People have realized that they were buying more than necessary. The tendency to walk away from uncontrolled capitalism has therefore grown all over the world. Much like the West, people in Japan are too adopting minimalist lifestyles. With the emergence of capitalism in the United States of America and the consequent formation of global markets, Japan, too, set aside the Zen principles. Nonetheless, in the 21st century, Japan is re-embracing its old minimalist practices. Gandhi and minimalism. Simplicity might be the most striking thing that set Gandhi apart from other world leaders. He lived, talked, and acted without pretensions. When public figures of the time spotted expensive suits to look sharp, Gandhi was clad in a single piece of white dhoti, long cloth worn by men in India, and a wooden stick. As a minimalist, Gandhi owned very few things. His worldly possessions consisted of a spectacle, a pair of sandals, an eating bowl, a watch, and a few simple clothes. The only luxury was a blanket to cover his bare chest during the cold. According to historians, Gandhi owned no more than 10 to 20 things. Born to a wealthy aristocratic family and educated at the University College of London as a lawyer, Gandhi was no stranger to an opulent lifestyle. He speaks, in his autobiography, of how he tried to embrace the European lifestyle while in England by wearing a bow tie, paying for English and French lessons, and even learning ballroom dancing. But he was disillusioned by these makeovers fast. Soon, attracted to the idea of minimalism, a trait of the ancient Indian practice of sannyasa, he renounced everything. Wanting to identify himself with the poorest of the poor in society, he gave up his European clothes when he returned to India in 1915 and adopted traditional Indian dress. At the time, India was trampled into poverty under the hard heels of British imperialism. He soon realized that the poor in India never got to wear decent clothes and forget traditional garments. He thus adopted as simple an appearance as possible. There's enough on this planet for everyone's needs but not for everyone's greed. Gandhi. Some books and documentaries on minimalism. Books. Minimalism, Live a Meaningful Life. Written by Joshua Fields Milburn, Ryan Nicodemus. The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing, written by Marie Kondo. The Joy of Less, written by Francine Jay. Spark Joy, an illustrated masterclass on the art of organizing and tidying up, written by Marie Kondo. The More of Less, Finding the Life You Want Under Everything You Own, written by Joshua Becker. Goodbye, Things, The New Japanese Minimalism, written by Fumio Sasaki. Zero Waste Home, The Ultimate Guide to Simplifying Your Life by Reducing Your Waste, written by B. Johnson. Documentaries. Minimalism, a documentary about the important things. The Minimalists, Less is Now. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel and share the video. Also, you can watch my other videos.